Good Wednesday morning, everyone, and welcome to our Red Short webinar. Today's webinar, we will be discussing the recent targeting of the COVID vaccine supply chain, specifically the cold storage piece of the chain. A link to a related article will be made available in the chat box. Researchers have recently disclosed a phishing campaign, which took place in September, and targets companies specifically involved in the cold storage aspect of the COVID-19 vaccine. The cold chain is the part of the supply chain that ensures the preservation of vaccines in temperature controlled environments during transport. These attackers, which appear to be nation state level actors, have been spotted sending malicious phishing emails, to different targets around the world. Specifically, these targets appear to be connected to through the Cold Chain Equipment Optimization Platform, or CCEOP. Red Sky Alliance has recently focused on supply chain attacks as attackers have realized that it's often easier to move laterally from one small target to a larger target than to directly breach a large target. The attackers in this case impersonated an employee at Higher Biomedical. This company, based out of Qingdao, China, claims to be one of the only complete cold chain providers in the world. On the slide here, you can see an example of one of the emails that was sent. Unlike many of the phishing emails that Red Sky Alliance has observed, this email appears much more professional than most. The email seems to have been sent by Zhu Yongbin, according to the name in the header, but the email signature contains a different name. Like many phishing emails, this one uses the generic greeting of "Good morning, hope you're doing well." This means that attackers can use this template to send to multiple other targets and impersonate different senders, which is exactly what they did in this case. The template was used to send in sending at least, this template was used by at least 2 unique sending email addresses to target at least 4 different companies. Another suspicious aspect of this email is that it's a request for quote or RFQ, which offers a payment in advance. Huge red flag anytime you get an email that is offering an advance payment. Users should always be suspicious of any communications offering any advance for any services. Combined with the other suspicious indicators, this email should immediately trigger multiple red flags for any trained user who opens and views it. Interestingly, the HTML attachment, the malicious attachment opens locally, which means that attackers don't have to host a malicious version of the web page online to steal credentials. This makes attribution more difficult for researchers and law enforcement. When the user opens the attachment, they will see this login prompt, which you see here on the slide. This prompt has auto-filled the PDF viewer username field to make it look less suspicious for the target. Once they enter their credentials, they're harvested by the attacker, of course. Although the exact goal of the attackers is unclear, the actions on objectives, access to these credentials would give them significant leverage in any future attacks against the targets and their supply chain. They could use these credentials to steal sensitive or proprietary data. They could impersonate these victims to another company in the supply chain. And if they're looking to make a quick profit, they could leverage this information to activate ransomware on the network. Since the beginning of the pandemic, Red Sky Alliance, which hopefully is almost over, by the way, Red Sky Alliance has been monitoring companies working on the COVID vaccine research for malicious activity. The majority of the hits that we've seen have been for breach data, but there are also dozens of malicious emails that we've seen targeting this industry as well. We will continue to monitor this activity surrounding the cold supply chain as well as the general supply chain as we look towards the distribution of the COVID-19 vaccine. Just from previous experience, I'm almost certain that we're going to see the distributors of this vaccine targeted next. The logistics chain has been a huge target historically, and it's also relatively slow in catching up in cybersecurity practices. Red Sky Alliance anticipates seeing significant targeting of the entire logistics chain for the COVID vaccine distribution, excuse me. That's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed the short material and found it useful. I'd like to thank you all for joining us. If you have any questions regarding the topics briefed today, please get in touch with Jay McKee at wapaklabs.com. Join us on December 16th for our next Red Short. If you missed any of the previous Red Short webinars, you can find them at redskyalliance.org/redshorts. If you're not a member, you'll have to sign up, but your free membership will give you access to all kinds of Red Sky Alliance content. Thank you very much and have a great week, everyone.